Hello, my name is Hunter and I am a plant collector. Today I'm going to be redoing my propagation box. It's just time, it needs help, and it's not really doing well. And I got some new ideas that I want to try out. So if you are also in the market for redoing your propagation box, or if you want to start your own propagation box, stay tuned. And if you're not already, please subscribe so you can see more planty content in the future. Thank you. All right, so before we get started, there's gonna be a few things we need, of course. A clear container. This is the one I'm currently using. I'm just gonna reuse it because I like the size and stuff. It fits well in my tiny apartment. Of course, plant cuttings. I'm gonna be taking a lot of these out and potting them up, but some of them are not rooted yet, so they're gonna stay. We're also gonna need sphagnum moss and some water. I'll go over that here in a little bit too. I like to add nutrients into my water. I'm going to be using Super Thrive. It's what I like. You can use whatever you like, but Super Thrive is good. And lastly, a little spray bottle. Alrighty, so now I'm going to start taking all of these cuttings out of this propagation box. I really need to replace this sphagnum moss. It's kind of crap, to be honest. So yeah, let's do that. We got some philodendron lemon lime. The reason I'm saving these is because it has that little dark stripe down the center, and if I could get a whole plant like that, that'd be great. So that's what I'm trying. Not guaranteeing anything though. Then we got some Hoya lacunosa. Plant cutting does not look like it's doing so well. A little philodendron silver stripe. A lot of these are leafless, just kind of nodes or vines. Couldn't tell you what that is, which is why they're in the propagation box. Usually if I have like propagations with actual leaves, I'll just water propagate them, or sometimes put them in like a jar with sphagnum moss. This might be a Cebu blue, but it doesn't look blue, so I don't know what that is. This is some sort of Syndapsis. I'm gonna guess Silvery Ann because there's a lot of those in here. My Silvery Ann is very good at getting leggy and not growing anything like substantial. It's really frustrating, honestly. I'm kind of over that plant, but I'm gonna keep trying. Like a lot of the new growth is even smaller than this leaf, and the plant itself from when I got it has much larger leaves. So I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but hopefully I figure it out. Some more Cebu blue, probably another Silvery Ann. I think this might be an exotica, just kind of looking at the leaf and by the size of it. Unless, maybe these are just pothos. I really don't know. I've never had just plain, I don't know. Some more Syndapsis of some sorts. And then some leafless nodes, which probably will just get tossed. Some of these are going to be tossed because they're just taking up room, and they've been in here for quite a while and they're not doing anything, so there's literally no point. Okay, got the last few cuttings out. We'll kind of sort through those more later when I'm rebuilding. And you might see some perlite in here. This used to be a perlite propagation box, but I wasn't having great success with it, so that's when I switched to the sphagnum moss. But sphagnum moss was never great from the beginning, and now that I have some good sphagnum moss and now that I have the time, it's time to replace it. I am going to reuse the sphagnum moss in a soil mix because I would say it's still fine to use like that. It's just not doing great for propagating. And once I'm done emptying this, I am going to go wash this little bin out. I'm going to use just soap and water, and then I will be back and we'll start rebuilding it. All right, so while my propagation box dries off a little more, I'm gonna start soaking the sphagnum moss. I don't know if I'll be using all of this, but maybe I'll find some more cuttings. And then I'm going to take some Super Thrive. This needs cleaned, firstly, but secondly, this watering can needs 8 drops. Every watering can, of course, is different, so just make sure if you are using Super Thrive or whatever nutrients you might be using, make sure that you are doing the correct dosage because you don't want to use too much in most cases. And now we're just gonna pour this over the sphagnum moss. And this may take a while to soak. Okay. I'm gonna move that. And then I'm going to go through these cuttings and see what I'm gonna keep, what I'm gonna throw away, and what I'm gonna plant. Obviously these like rotted ones are gonna be tossed. So we'll add that to the garbage pile. Let's see. I think I'll keep this, but I might cut it down a little bit. I like that these are rooted, but I'm not seeing any new growth, and really no point in keeping that part as far as I'm concerned. So I'm gonna get my shears real quick. Okay. So I'm gonna cut this one there. We'll save that little bit. And then I think I'll plant that one. That's gonna go in the garbage. I'm gonna guess these are Cebu Blue. So we're gonna make a little pile of what I think is that. I'm gonna do the same thing with this. Well, oh wait, no, that is a root. Is that a root? Okay, this root looks weird. It kind of looks like it was rotted, but it's not mushy. So I think we're okay. But since there's really no other leaves on this one, I am going to just chop that there, and we'll add that to a pot. And that's going to go away. This one I'm gonna put back into the propagation box. We'll just put it over there. That's another Cebu Blue. Also believe this one's a Cebu Blue. Again, they're just not blue, so I'm really confused. I don't know if it's maybe a lighting ordeal, but I also don't know what else they would be. But anyway, that's gonna get potted. This Syndapsis exotica, I'm gonna get that extra sphagnum moss off of. I think I'm gonna cut it here, plant that one up. I'm gonna trim this inner node down, and you can see there's a little growth point right there. So I am going to keep this, but I'm going to add it back into the box. Put that over there. I'm gonna take this kind of dead stuff off to prevent rot. This is a philodendron silver stripe. First off, I just love how colorful their vines are. The silver stripe is one of my favorite trailing philodendrons right now. It also just is very prolific for me. This one, I think I'm just gonna leave as is for now and put it back into the propagation box. This Lacanosa is pretty dried out. I don't think it's gonna do anything. I believe this is another exotica, just by the shape and stuff. Since it's got a leaf and some roots, I'm gonna put it in the propagation box as well. I am gonna trim that inner node down though. Okay, first off, I'm gonna trim this down. Assuming this isn't gonna do anything. I also have so much Cebu Blue that I'm not too worried about throwing a little bit away. And plot twist, that whole thing's going away. This is a philodendron lemon lime. I have another one in here that has that like dark strike down the middle. I'm really trying to encourage that, so let's see. This has a little new growth on it too. These roots make me a little nervous. They seem really thin. They're not mushy or like falling apart. We're gonna try potting those up. I think it might just be a little dry. I am going to cut that off. So another pot. And let's see, don't know, throwing it away. A lot of these have just been sitting and doing nothing, and I'm kind of over it. I think this is another silvery Ann. I just ripped that root off, that's great. Anyway, I think this one I'll pot up. I might just add it to my pot of silvery Ann since I don't know if I'm gonna have others. See, this is cute for like a terrarium, but I don't really have terrariums, nor do I want them because I know I'll kill them. I'm gonna throw it away. We're purging today. Toss. Now this long boy, I think, you know what? We're gonna save it. I'm gonna put it with this one and we're gonna start a pot. I'm not putting it in with my full plant since the growth is so small, but I guess we'll just have another one. This one, however, I think what I'm going to do is I'm gonna chop this part off. I'm gonna chop this rotted root off. We'll try again with this one, and I'm just gonna cut these into single cuttings, and we'll add those to the new propagation, well, not the new, the renewed propagation box. This one, however, it's got a pretty good root on it, so I am going to add it to there, to that pile. And I'm gonna put that back in the propagation box because it doesn't have that long of a root. The root should be at least 1 inch long. I try to strive for a little bit longer than that just to make it so it's more likely to survive. These have new leaves coming in, but again, they're freaking tiny, and I don't want that. I don't want small plants. Sorry about it. Okay, those are all gonna be tossed. These will be potted up, and the ones I put over here are going to be put back into the propagation box. We're gonna take the Sphagnum Moss and wring out any extra water. We don't want the Sphagnum Moss dripping. And we're gonna add about 1 inch of it to the bottom of this bin. I think that should be good for now. I'm gonna keep that Sphagnum Moss here though, because I'll probably need a little more as we go. Okay. So I'm gonna start with this guy. This is a little chunk that I have of Philodendron glorious. It had a leaf on it, and for whatever reason that leaf decided to give up on life. And I mean, I only paid $5 for it, so it's not like I'm out of anything. I just really want this plant, and I'm like, I already have it. So anyway, we're gonna start with this. I'm gonna like kind of almost bury this. Not like super deep. I wanna be able to still kind of see it, but I would like it to be, especially the node part, as covered as possible. And then we have another similar situation here. This is a Rhaphidophora decursiva. Another plant that I have not had much luck or success with, but I still have this little chunk from my original plant, and we're gonna keep on trying until I give up, I guess, or it gets up. And the same thing, this one has a few nodes on it, so I'm actually gonna completely cover it, and hopefully leaf will come up. Now we have, let's do the Monstera Perus. These Perus have been sitting in water. I've been trying to water propagate them for honestly like, I'd say close to at least 3 months, but I feel like it's closer to 6 months. You can tell they're a little dehydrated, which is why I'm gonna switch them over to here. But let's do these along this side. Hopefully they can root in here easier than the water. I feel like Monstera Peru is one of the harder plants also. Not just the plants, but also the cuttings. I feel like I've had some difficulties getting them to actually root. I'm just making sure that those nodes are covered up. We'll get a little extra sphagnum, put it down there. Put this one down here. Look at that. All right, so now I am just going to fill in this propagation box with the rest of the cuttings. I'm just making sure that the nodes are covered. If there's any roots, you want to make sure that those are completely covered by the sphagnum moss as well. Aftercare for these are really easy. You want to give it, of course, some bright light. That's going to help the roots form as quickly as possible. You want to keep it pretty warm too. If you have a heating mat, that's awesome. I don't really feel like I need it personally, but if you tend to keep your house or your apartment a little cold, probably would be good. And then I would say just check on it about once a week, maybe once every week and a half. And if it's starting to dry out, just spray it with a spray bottle. I really like this one because it's a nice fine mist and it will like more evenly saturate that sphagnum moss. It's also great for moss poles. I'm going to leave a link for this in the description as well. And then to be done with that, you can just close the lid. If you notice it stays wet for a long period of time, I would probably open it up and let it kind of dry out for a few hours, because otherwise you might get some rot in there. Another thing is a lot of people say, and they're probably right, I just haven't had this experience, but you might be able to see here how the leaf is wet and touching the plastic. A lot of people say that that can produce rot on the leaf. I've never had that experience, so I would say don't do it, even though I'm doing it. All right, that is it for this video. I will just keep on checking on that propagation box every like week or two. Make sure the sphagnum moss is somewhat moist. Of course, you don't want it to be too wet because then that will cause rot. Anyway, if you have not, please give this video a thumbs up if you gained anything from it or if you liked it, and please share with a friend to help my channel grow. And you can also find me on Instagram, and I will leave the link for that down in the description. Thank you.